Imagine a world-famous psychologist, Carl Jung, walking into his stone tower beside Lake Zurich in Switzerland. He built this retreat not as a vacation home, but as a sanctuary for intense, undistracted thinking. Jung's days at the tower followed a firm routine: waking at 7, a hearty breakfast, followed by 2 hours of deep, focused writing in his private office, an office so private he held the only key. In the afternoons, he'd meditate or go for long walks in nature, all without the interference of electricity, phones, or modern disruption. Jung built this space after realizing that city life, filled with patient meetings and daily noise, wasn't enough for him to reach his creative peak. He needed somewhere to go deep. The book, Deep Work: Rules for Focused Success in a Distracted World, opens with Jung's story to highlight that breakthrough work often requires long periods of uninterrupted focus, what Cal Newport calls deep work. Newport shares similar examples: Mark Twain retreating to an isolated shed to finish The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, Woody Allen refusing to use a computer to write his films, J.K. Rowling locking herself away from social media while writing Harry Potter, and Bill Gates setting aside think weeks for solo work and reading. These legends all recognized a basic truth: deep, valuable work demands solitude and time. But Newport's purpose isn't to just romanticize the old days of thinkers and writers. Instead, he argues that in our current era of constant email ping and social media scrolling, most of us have lost the ability to focus deeply. The average office worker now spends nearly 60% of their workweek communicating electronically, mostly on email. Newport's thesis is clear: while our modern culture makes distraction easy, those who reclaim the ability to engage in deep, focused work are the ones who will thrive, not only getting more done, but also achieving a fulfilling and meaningful work life. Think about your own life. How often do you truly focus on one important task without checking your phone, email, or group chat? Newport wants to teach you how to develop this rare but valuable skill, showing that anyone can do it with practice and the right habits. Chapter 1: Deep Work is Valuable: The New Economy and Deep Work Hypothesis. In the first main chapter, Newport lays out the key reason why deep work is becoming the superpower of the 21st century. He divides work into two types: deep work, activities done in a state of distraction-free concentration, which push your abilities and create new value; shallow work, tasks that are logistical, non-cognitively demanding, often done while distracted, and easily replicated by others or even software. To understand why deep work matters, let's look at 3 success stories Newport cites. Nate Silver: when 70% of election night traffic went to his predictive blog on the New York Times, he wasn't just lucky. Silver mastered complex statistical models using deep work and eventually created his own successful venture. David Heinemeier Hansson: he built Ruby on Rails, a software framework that now powers companies like Twitter and Hulu. Hanson's breakthroughs happened thanks to long, undisturbed coding sessions. John Doerr: a venture capitalist who backed companies like Google and Amazon, earning billions. His advantage comes from deep understanding and the ability to spot emerging trends before others. Newport points to research from MIT economists that the labor market is splitting. Those who can master tough new skills fast, those who can produce at an elite level, and those with capital will soar to the top, while automation pushes others out. In other words, to join the ranks of winners, you must develop the ability to learn hard things quickly, the ability to produce at an elite level, both in quality and speed. Both skills depend on, you guessed it, deep work. Newport also brings in the science: deliberate practice. Extended, focused practice with fast feedback strengthens brain circuits via myelin, much like muscles. The harder you focus, the better your brain gets at that skill, literally rewiring itself for deep work. Short, distracted sessions don't cut it. As psychologist Sophie Leroy shows with attention residue research, when you switch tasks frequently, your brain struggles to focus and performance drops. He's realistic too. Not everyone's job fits this mold. Some people, like Jack Dorsey, thrive by making rapid decisions as CEOs and don't need deep work. But for most knowledge workers, constant distractions are a liability, not a strength. Bottom line, as technology and outsourcing accelerate, deep work is both more rare and more valuable. Those willing to cultivate it will have a powerful edge in today's economy. Chapter 2: Deep Work is Rare, Modern Distraction and Shallow Work. In Chapter 2, Newport flips the script. If deep work is so important, why aren't more people doing it? The answer: modern workplaces unintentionally invite distraction and reward shallow work. Example: many companies moved to open office plans, like Facebook's billion-dollar headquarters, to encourage collaboration. The catch? Employees are constantly interrupted by random conversations, making it almost impossible to get into deep focus. Add in instant messaging, endless meetings, and the pressure to respond instantly, none of which require much thinking but eat up most of the day. Sugar on top, many teams push workers to have a constant social media presence, even if their real job is, say, coding or editing reports. Newport explains why these choices persist. Principle of least resistance. In the absence of clear results, workers and bosses unintentionally drift toward whatever looks or feels easiest, like replying to emails. Busyness as proxy for productivity. Since good metrics for knowledge work are missing, people revert to what's visible. Staying busy, answering emails, going to meetings. It looks productive, even if it achieves little. The real tragedy? Most people never get the chance to practice deep work. Companies, lacking concrete ways to measure focus or output, tolerate the constant buzz, even though research shows it undermines quality, creativity, and energy. In short, distraction is the default. If you want to stand out and create real value, you need to be intentional about building a different routine. Key analogy: think of it like trying to write a novel in the middle of Times Square versus a quiet cabin. Even if distractions are now part of the culture, individuals who reclaim their attention can achieve more in less time. Chapter 3: Deep Work is Meaningful: Neurological, Psychological, and Philosophical Arguments. Why should deep work matter beyond promotions or higher pay? Newport answers with three compelling perspectives. 1. Neurological. Deep work makes your brain happier. Research shows our brains respond well to intense, meaningful concentration. When you enter a state of deep focus, you'll often experience flow, a feeling described by psychologist Mihai Csikszentmihalyi as being completely absorbed by a challenging yet rewarding activity. In this state, time flies, worries fade, and your sense of self slips away. This isn't just nice, it's neurologically satisfying. Engaging in deep work, your prefrontal cortex is activated, filtering out distractions and helping you perform at your best. Even more, as you practice this skill, you lay down more myelin in your brain, the insulation around neurons, which increases mental speed and precision. This makes future deep work easier and more rewarding. 2. Psychological. Deep focus brings fulfillment. Psychologists found that people are most satisfied when immersed in challenging, focused tasks, not while aimlessly surfing the web or multitasking. For example, blacksmith Rick Furr, featured by Newport, describes losing himself entirely in the act of forging a sword, a scene similar to athletes in the zone or writers losing hours in creative flow. This isn't limited to blacksmiths. Office workers, Programmers and students can all access lasting satisfaction by tackling challenging projects with deep focus. 3. Philosophical. Depth equals a good life. Finally, Newport borrows from philosophers like Hubert Dreyfus and Sean Kelly, who say that craftsmanship, devoting intense focus and care to your work, gives life meaning. In short, devoting yourself to deep work isn't just productive, it's a way to shape a fulfilling and significant life. Key example: think of Bill Gates during his Think Weeks. Isolated in a simple cottage, no phone or email, he's able to dream up new strategies and ideas that shaped Microsoft's future. The sense of accomplishment and clarity from such focused effort is worlds apart from a day spent answering hundreds of emails. Deep work feels good, builds your skills, and delivers real happiness, something shallow work can never match. Rule 1. Work deeply, scheduling philosophies and rituals. So, how do you actually do deep work in today's world? Newport's first rule: work deeply. This isn't just about willpower, but building a system and routine that protects your precious focus. He introduces 4 philosophies of scheduling deep work. Here's a simple breakdown. Philosophy, best for how it works. Example: monastic, full-time creators, writers, complete elimination of shallow work and distractions. Donald Knuth, Neil Stephenson, Carl Jung's Tower. Bimodal professors, entrepreneurs, divide time into large, dedicated stretches for deep work, rest for shallow work. Adam Grant's teaching versus research semesters. Rhythmic. Busy professionals, parents, set fixed, deep work blocks in your daily routine. Daily 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. focus sessions. Don't break the chain. Journalistic. Reporters, managers with chaos. Seize deep work opportunities whenever they arise. Requires experience. Walter Isaacson writing a book between interviews. Further explanation. Monastic. Total elimination of distraction. Ideal but may be impossible for many jobs. Think a novelist renting a cabin for months, or an academic who doesn't publish their email. Bimodal. Split your year, week, or day between deep and shallow. Example: a university professor dedicating entire semesters to research. Rhythmic. The most accessible. Make deep work a daily habit, e.g., 2 hours every morning. Journalistic. Jump into deep work whenever you have a gap, like a reporter writing between stories. This is hard and not recommended for beginners. Newport suggests you pick the approach that fits your job and life. Build rituals. Decide your location: home office, library. Time frame, e.g., 90 minutes after lunch. Rules: no phone, no email, and support. Coffee, snacks, walking breaks. Set up your tools and stick with your routine to reduce friction. Grand gestures. Sometimes you need to signal to your brain and family that focus is serious. J.K. Rowling booked a suite at an expensive hotel to finish Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. Bill Gates goes off-grid for Think Weeks. Investing money or making a public commitment can raise the stakes, making it mentally easier to sink into deep work. Collaborative deep work, even working with a partner, can count as deep work if both parties are fully present and focused. Execute like a business. Newport borrows from the 4 disciplines of execution. Identify wildly important goals. Measure lead indicators, hours spent on deep work. Keep visible scoreboards, and hold yourself accountable with regular reviews. Embrace downtime. Scheduled rest and evening shutdowns help your brain recover, boost creativity, and prevent burnout. Newport is clear: most people can only do about 4 hours of deep work a day before quality drops. Rule 2. Embrace boredom and willpower limits. Distraction is addictive. Rule 2. Embrace boredom. In a world where spare moments mean automatic phone checks, Newport argues you must actively train your brain to resist distraction. Here's why. Willpower is limited. If you live in constant distraction, your brain craves even more. Multitasking, social media, and fast dopamine hits weaken your ability to focus. It's like trying to run a marathon after months of sitting on the couch. Deep work, Newport says, is like a muscle. You need to practice focus, just as you'd practice playing piano or shooting baskets. So instead of resisting temptation with weak willpower, you build routines so concentration becomes automatic. How to train your focus. Don't take breaks from distraction, take breaks from focus. Schedule ahead when you'll check email or use the internet, and completely avoid these outside those times. Even if you feel stuck during deep work, don't just check for a minute. Switch to another offline task instead. Roosevelt dashes. Inspired by President Teddy Roosevelt's habit of short, intense bursts of writing before a tough deadline. Set a timer for 60 or 90 minutes and work with absolute focus during that time. Productive meditation. Go for a walk or do the dishes, but instead of letting your mind wander, think actively about a tough professional problem. Jot down insights after the session. Mental training exercises. Try memorizing a deck of cards or a poem. These boost your mind's ability to sustain concentration, like weightlifting for your attention span. Key analogy. If you work out, you know you can't go from couch to marathon in a day. Similarly, you can't expect to do deep work for long stretches if you're constantly switching between tasks. Gradually increasing focus reps builds your cognitive stamina. Rule 3. Quit social media. The any benefit mindset. Rule 3 is one of Newport's boldest. Quit social media. Realistically, many people can't or won't quit every platform. But Newport's point is to get ruthless about which internet tools genuinely support your goals and which are just shiny distractions. He warns against the any benefit mindset, keeping a tool just because it offers some benefit, even if the value is minor. For example, maybe Facebook helps you stay in touch with an old roommate, or LinkedIn reminds you of birthdays. But Newport argues you should only use tools if the positive impact on your goals clearly outweighs the negatives of lost time and fractured focus. He proposes the craftsman approach. First, define your most important professional and personal goals. List the 2 or 3 key activities that help you achieve each goal. For every network tool, social media, chat app, ask whether it substantially supports those activities. If not, eliminate it, even if it has peripheral benefits. To test your own dependency, Newport recommends a 30-day social media break. After a month, ask yourself, would the last 30 days have been notably better if I'd used this service? And did people care that I wasn't using it? If both answers are no, quit it for good. Example: imagine a freelance designer who feels obligated to post on Instagram daily, but realizes 90% of their best clients came from word of mouth or a professional portfolio site, not social media. If Instagram isn't crucial for your major professional or personal goals, ditch it. Newport's not anti-internet. He just says evaluate tools carefully and don't let fear of missing out, FOMO, run your life. Rule 4. Drain the shallows. The art of time audit and shallow work minimization. Rule 4 is all about reclaiming your schedule. Drain the shallows. Shallow work, emails, administrative tasks, meetings, can easily swamp your day if you're not careful, leaving little time or energy for deep work. Newport gives several tactical strategies. Schedule every minute of your day. Use time blocking. Plan each hour or half hour in advance. Batch similar small tasks together. And include even leisure or breaks. This doesn't mean militaristic rigidity, but you should always know what you're working on at any moment. Revising the plan is encouraged, but be intentional. Quantify the depth of every activity. For each task, ask, how long would it take to train a smart new college grad to do this? If it's quick to teach, it's likely shallow. Focus your energy on tasks that require expertise intuition, and creativity. Get your boss or team on board. Ask what percentage of your time should be spent on shallow work. Having management support for batching emails or avoiding constant meetings can be a game changer. Finish work at a fixed hour, like 5:30 p.m. Newport calls this fixed schedule productivity. With a hard stop, you naturally become ruthless about prioritizing deep work and eliminating or minimizing low-value activities. Become hard to reach. Don't publish your email everywhere. Set quotas for meetings and make others do more work when writing to you. For example, request detailed subject lines and clear action steps in emails. He points out the famous 37 signals, now Basecamp experiment. Software engineers working 4-day weeks with fewer meetings produced just as much, if not more, creative work than before, proving that shallow work isn't essential and often crowds out what matters most. Key analogy: picture your schedule as a garden. If you don't actively weed out the invasive plants, shallow work, they'll crowd out the healthy crops, deep work. The solution isn't to eliminate shallow work. Some is necessary, but to ruthlessly minimize and contain it. Conclusion: key takeaways and personal insights. As the book closes, Newport brings the message home with a modern legend, Bill Gates. In his early years, Gates famously locked himself away in a tiny room for weeks at a time, writing software and envisioning Microsoft's future. He credits this deep focus, before ThinkWeeks became famous, with much of his company's early innovation. Newport also shares how, when he became a professor, he feared losing control over his schedule. To preserve deep work, he built daily and weekly routines, targeting 2 academic papers per year, blocking out mornings for research, and using hard stops and shutdown rituals each day. This discipline let him advance in his career while raising a family and writing books. Final encouragement: Newport is realistic. Living a fully deep life isn't for everyone, and his ideas might seem extreme to many. But if you invest in developing your deep work muscle, you'll gain productivity, creativity, and a sense of satisfaction that's out of reach for those stuck in a cycle of endless busyness and distraction. The evidence is clear. In a distracted world, your ability to focus deeply is more valuable and rarer than ever. By using Newport strategies, anyone can reclaim their focus, do more meaningful work, and enjoy a richer, more fulfilling life. Final words: deep work isn't about working harder, but working more intentionally. Newport argues, and modern science agrees, that focus isn't just a productivity hack. It's the foundation for creative breakthroughs, career fulfillment, and even neural well-being. By adopting even a few of these practices, you'll set yourself apart from the sea of distraction and unlock a higher level of effectiveness and satisfaction in every area of your life. If this summary inspired you, grab a copy of the book or share your own deep work rituals in the comments below. What will you create when you reclaim your focus? You're watching Talking Better, where wisdom speaks and you evolve. See you in the next one.